Hello, lovely people. We are going all the way out to get you information enough to make informed decision this December. We are here to talk to one gentleman, hopefully president in awaiting. Let's go and talk to him. Let's get to know him. I'm sure some of you might be like me. You might not know much about him. Let's go talk to him, find out who he is, where he's coming from, what policies he has to implement that the incumbent or the past has not done. Let's go and talk to Mr. KOFI KORANTENG. Welcome, Mr. KORANTENG, to LMTV.
Thank you, Zachariah. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, we've come all the way from Kumasi, and we are here to get to know you, a leader in awaiting. We want to know where you're coming from, who at all is Mr. KORANTENG, how did you get here? If you could help us with that information, we'll be very grateful.
All right, so thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks for your listeners and those who are watching us. Zach, I was born at Kolebu. I went to Agri Memorial on Ringway. Then I'm going to abbreviate it a little bit so we're not here for 20 hours, right? So I went to Agri Memorial, went to University Primary in Cape Coast, went to Garrison in Kumasi, went to Adisco, went to London, and then went to New York. So that's the abbreviated version. My background is in engineering.
Okay.
I studied finance. I worked for financial institutions. I've worked for United Parcel Service. I've worked for Citigroup. I've worked for Chase Bank. Back then it was Manufacturers Hanover, then it became Chemical Bank, then it became Chase Bank, then it became JP Morgan Chase. So, and I've worked in between. I've done so many other jobs, and I understand big money. I worked on Wall Street, right? I understand the culture that controls big money. I understand negotiation, and then I understand systems. I deeply understand the Ghana problem, which is really not a problem, it's a puzzle. But like with everything else that people attach mysticism and confusion to, when you don't have a trained mind, a problem becomes complicated and it looks like there is a mystery to it. When you have a trained mind and you look at the same problem, now it becomes a puzzle. And to every puzzle, there is a solution. You just have to know how to solve it. So I look at the Ghana problem as a puzzle, where if you have you're competent and you're functional, you have a science-based, data-driven, and a human-centered consciousness to looking at the problem. Now it's just a matter of time to solve it. So that's how I got motivated to get into politics, because I did not understand why our so-called rulers, leaders, would always make it seem as if Ghana has a problem. We have all the resources in the world. Zach, cassava alone, we can make more than enough money on cassava, the dough, to give us more than enough foreign exchange reserves if we have a mind that's trained. But because the minds of these leaders, 275 of them, 123 ministers, it's untrained, all of a sudden there's chaos. You coming in here, you saw what outside, right? Streets are done, no curbs, no sidewalks, no skirts, no gutters, underground gutters. How do you construct streets like that? Because it rains on the asphalt, The water has to have a place to run. If you don't have a sewer system underground to collect the water and direct the water to a reservoir where it's treated and recycled back to our system, then the water, once it dries, it goes to waste. You can never get it back. Ever wonder why we're having water problems? Ding a 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 ding. Our leaders don't have it to think. They can't do it. It's like working out. You look pretty buff, right? If you were to give somebody who has never been to a gym, you give them 100 pounds to pick up, they're going to hurt. They're not going to be able to pick it up because the muscle is not trained. Once you train and you develop the muscle, then you could pick the weight up. That's what it is.
The party has started before the party starts. Well, one of the things that baffles me some of the times is that every person who has the opportunity to become a president was once in your shoes like this. And they said stuff that are very sweet and very nice. We took them by their words. What is the assurance that this time Mr. KOFI Koranten is not just giving us words that we want to hear?
All right, so that's a great question. But now, this is what I entreat every Ghanaian to do. Take a look at all our problems. I can have you close your eyes and give you a dart. And I say, turn your back to all the problems that Ghana has. Throw it at that, and it will land on a problem, right? The problem it lands on, you could follow that to the inception of the problem and would always bring you to one thing. Science-based, data-driven, human-centered was not part of the thinking mechanism in their attempt to solve the problem. That's why we still have the problem. And that's why we still have the problems since 1957. The leaders that we ushered in to lead us, good people, some of them, but good people don't necessarily cut the cost. So a good person doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be successful at anything. So you could say, oh, this president was good, this president was... No, you need to be functional in your thinking and competent to deliver something specific. There is a science to everything. The people that we... Take a look around. Go to church, right? Go to your church. Take a look around your neighborhood. You will find a lot of good people who are suffering today. Go by the wayside, you will see them. Because these are people who, by virtue of neglect or ignorance, have not understood the law and the science by which life works. When you don't understand the law and the science by which life works, then you get the brunt of life. It has nothing to do with whether you're a good person or you're not. You have to understand that life moves by principle. If you don't follow that principle, guess what? You suffer. You see the plug on the wall? There is a principle to that power in there. So you could plug in your camera, and with the power generated from that plug, you could power your camera for it to take a shot. You could plug in a toaster, it would toast your bread. You could, a cooker, a range cooktop, and you could cook food with it, rice cooker, right? Now, if you misunderstood that principle and you put a fork into that same hole that gave you pleasure, now you're a shish kebab. Right? Yeah. You will be roasted because you, by virtue of your neglect or ignorance, you have misused the law. Right? We get all the sun in the world here in Ghana. Except for Kokonte and Kobe, what do we need that solar energy for? You go to Scandinavian countries, they have just a few hours of sunlight, but then the same people, by them understanding the law, they utilize the solar for energy, and they have an abundance of electricity for their industries. Do we use it? Don't answer that question. Go talk to your ministers and your parliamentarians. 275 of them driving around making noise. Woo, 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 woo. What good are they bringing to Ghana? Zilch. Talk to me.
Sincerely, would you say that to an extent the incumbent has worked? Or would you say 1 to 10? Where would you rate them?
The answer is in taking a walk on a park. Go around and look in the streets and look at the gutters, and you answer that question. Maybe I'm just too brush with my answers, so I'm too honest. So don't ask me. I'm biased. I'm very biased because I have such high expectation of Ghana and Ghanaians, right? But now you take a look when you have over 800,000 of graduates who are unemployed. You go to the hospital where people are dying from synthetic pharmaceuticals. Now, to make it worse, as bad as the synthetic pharmaceuticals are, it's not even that. It's also fake synthetic pharmaceuticals. Right or right? Okay, you're laughing. You haven't been sick lately. Go get sick, go to a chemist. Now, listen, this is a realization. Do you see a sudden explosion of chemists, pharmacies all over? Guess why that is? Do you know what that is? They have come to the realization that our healthcare system does not work. Your life is right in that pocket with that beautiful handkerchief. You want to live? You better depend on yourself to live. You can't depend on your government to create an infrastructure to make you survive and thrive. So you have to go to the chemist. And when you go to the chemist, again, with what I said, fake medicine. And people are dying. And then you ask me, oh, well, you haven't asked me yet, but at some point I'm sure you're going to ask me, I want to vote for NDC or NPP. That's the most ridiculous thing any Ghanaian has to hear somebody say. Vote for NDC and NPP. Look at what they've done. Except for chaos, listen. Oh, except for chaos and legalizing Okada, right? You have more? Come on, give me a break. Go to the next question.
Anyways, what is your topmost or your most prioritized policy?
Well, the first thing, Zach, that we need to do is when we listen to the NDC and the NPP talk this nonsense about manifesto here, manifesto, we need to come to the realization that Ghana is not for a political party to use as their science project, okay? We need to have one national development plan that addresses all our capital needs. So roads, infrastructure, employment for the youth, these things, the healthcare systems, strengthening national security and borders. These things you cannot put on a manifesto. It's a no-go, non-negotiable area. So you create a national development plan that crafts a pathway of vision for Ghana for the next 20, 30, 50 years, that you entrench in a constitution that nobody can change. And then you say to every political party, you come in here, you work this national development plan, and then if you have any icing or coconut flakes to sprinkle on the cake, you could do that. But the cake, you cannot change the dough. You with me? Yeah. That's what we're talking about. So that's a major policy position that Ghanaians should vote for this Agenda 2020 just because of that. Because if we don't do that, then what happens is you have these clowns come dance around every 4 years and do what they want, and they leave us with more debt. That is why our debt right now is at 258 billion cedis and still climbing.
Which means that you don't think that manifestos are necessary for now?
Absolutely not. What's good is a manifesto? Tell me. Nothing really yields out of a manifesto. If the manifestos worked, we wouldn't have them coming back again every 4 years.
When we want to chastise them, we use that as a fundamental to let them become accountable to us for what they promise. So if there is no manifesto, how do we do a follow-up to see, you said you were going to do A, you said you were going to do B, have you done it, have you not done it? How do we do that?
You come with a strategic policy position, a statement of account of what you are going to do. You don't need a manifesto. You just need.
Are they knowing the same? Is there any difference between having them documented, what you want to do, what you don't want to do, and all that?
Well, that's more reason why we say the manifestos are garbage, because everybody looks to a manifesto that doesn't do anything. So it's not. Matter of fact, let me give you a big surprise. You ready?
Yeah.
I am actually going to use the manifestos of the NDC and NPP to run Ghana. You know what the difference is?
No, tell me.
Political will. A person with political will. That's the difference. You see, if NDC and NPP would only do what's in their manifestos, Ghana would be a different place.
So you believe in an all-inclusive policy?
I didn't say that. What I'm saying is we need somebody who will actually make it work, who have the political will to make what's in it work.
But what do you think? What do you make of all-inclusive governance?
Well, we ready for it, right? That's what we're doing now. God were to bless us to be in a leadership position as a president, I still have to deal with the NDC and NPP in Parliament, right? That's pretty inclusive to me the last time I checked.
Okay.
You don't think that's inclusive?
Yeah, no. Sounds
that's inclusive.
Yeah. Well, this is interesting. I haven't. Have you any reps across the nation? How are you going to mobilize your people? How does it work for an independent?
It's working fabulously, and maybe once we're done, you would have the chance to speak with our chairman, Mr. Ufuriampofu, who is heading the Coalition of Independent Political Aspirants. For those of you who don't know, he's been in politics since 2008. He was the flag bearer for Ghana National Party. So, to my credit, to his credit, to my benefit, that's what I meant to say, to my benefit, he started the work over 10 years ago. Okay. So he has already established a lot of contacts in all these regions that we coming down and we able to benefit from. And that's the beauty of coming into a coalition with Mr. Ufuriampofu, Mr. Kalibu Morgan, and also Mr. Onipa Edete. So all these people have areas in the nation where they've already built relationships that as a group and in a convergence we're able to take advantage of.
And it's working good?
Absolutely, it's working really great. The only thing we're not happy with is, what's her name again? Jim Mensah, you heard of that name? Okay, so you heard of her statement, making 50,000 into, she's a magician, ain't she? She goes in a room with 50, she comes out with 100. Unbelievable.
I thought you all sat down to come up with something like that. Did he have a meeting with your stakeholders?
No.
It just...
Yeah, and that is actually why it's totally unconstitutional. It doesn't have a statutory basis, and it's not even equitable, and it's not democratic. You cannot sit down in the confines of your room and wake up one morning and say, hey, I came out of the meeting with my commissioners and it's not 50, it's 100,000 seats.
That just came out of, I'm sure she might have sat down with people.
This is the guy. Are you a sympathizer of the EC?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so how do you come to the basis of I'm not being fair to her? Where you get?
Because I'm sure she might have done
some So your basis for this statement is based on an assumption. Is that what you're saying?
I'm sure we both have based on
Sure.
that assumption.
No, I know that for a fact because $100,000 is part of the book. We have to go and pay 100,000 cities, right? Yeah, it's not an assumption. It's happened.
Yeah, I know, but how she came up with that?
But how do you justify it, though? In a nation where over 50% of the people live below the poverty line, the median income is less than 1,000 cities. How do you come out? See, let me explain something to you so you can understand.
All right.
The idea of democracy as a responsibility of the EC is to create an environment, an arena where thoughts from different people, from different backgrounds, come into spar. You bring yours, I bring mine, I'm able to have a conversation with you. And from that, patterns of policy is generated. So when you stand at the door and you say, $100,000, 100,000 cities, 100,000 cities, or you don't get into the arena, then you don't get a chance to flex your muscles and show the bigger parties what you have. So a lecturer, a photographer, a media person who may have some good ideas is now stopped from getting into the arena to have a conversation with the big parties. You see, the genius of the democracy was not just to get people to run and win. The genius of the democracy, as what the EC should be responsible for, is to allow for people to get into the sparring arena to spar. And in the process, what they do is they elevate the consciousness of the people and also change the expectation of the people. So now they have things to hold on to hold the bigger parties accountable. But if this dialogue doesn't happen, then nobody knows what could be possible for Ghanaians. And one of the biggest problems with Ghana now is because people don't know what we deserve. And if you don't know what you deserve, then you can't hold somebody accountable because you don't even know it exists for you. By you making it 100,000, by default, you just block that. You see how powerful that is? So Miss Jean Mensa doesn't even know that. And the president of the nation and all his 100 and gazillion advisors don't even know that, because if they knew that, then they would know that for that alone is bad for democracy. And if you want your people to elevate, you allow for a lot more people to come into the ring. That's how competition drives up the bar, so you have to be better all the time. Listen, in the West, in New York, in the US, for example, and everywhere else in the West, what happens is you have big monopolies, right? But then in every monopoly, you allow for the little ones to come in. And what they do is they keep nudging the big ones. Oh, if you don't do this, I'm going to do this. If you don't do this. And then they elevate their game in an attempt to push out the little ones. But there is policy to always keep the little ones there to nag them. If you don't do this, I'm going to do this for your clients, and I'm going to, right? And they get better. Because if you get all the little ones out of the arena, then the big boys think, oh, too big to fail. Nobody here to keep me accountable. That's what happens. And this is exactly what the NDC and NPP want to happen.
So are you in talks? Are you pushing for a reduction?
Well, of course, listen, the civil societies, everybody's talking, because you see, even the way that it was done, there is something called a fees and charges provision. It's an Act 983 that you go through a very deliberate process, and you hand your fee schedule to Parliament, and they deliberate and they approve. Then it becomes part of the schedule of the EC. This lady, because she's an independent agency, right? Goes in, comes out. Hey, I went in with 50. I come out with 100. She's a magician. She is a magician.
With the saying of she being independent, over the years,
independent doesn't mean lose your mind. Just so you know.
Yeah, over the years, there's there's been a change, Charlotte, and then she's now...
Charlotte to say,
yeah,
yes.
Do you think that it is prudent? She's not acting to favor some people. Is it prudent for her to be changed? Should you win or should you become the president?
One of the first people I'd fire if I were president.
But would you change her if you become the president?
I wouldn't change her. I'll fire her. I mean, how difficult is that to understand? Do you not understand me? Listen, she has used bad judgment. She doesn't this is coming from a lady who took 60 million and in a span of 3 years from 2016 to 2019 bought machines and came back to tell Ghanaians that, oh, Ghanaians, my machines are obsolete. Did you not read that? Yeah. So wait, a woman takes 60 million, blows that, and then she comes back to charge us 100,000 cities. And that's normal? Come on, Ghana. And then after blowing the 60,000, she goes back and says, give me 150 million for a new voter register. And Ghanaians gave it to her just so that she could... Okay, let me take you back so you can understand. The basis for a new voter register was because the argument was made that the system was riddled with inconsistencies. Okay? So now she gets a check for 150 million to go spend on a new voter register. She gets the new voter register done, and then we get to find out that over 88% of the people who vouched for this new voter register came out of the basis of guarantee. So what you're telling me in essence is only you blew 150 million cedis of $150 million of Ghana money because you suspected 12% of the electorate not having the right voter registry. This is just pure math, right? 88%, 12%. Because everybody who got the new voter register from the previous, because again, remember the Supreme Court ruled that our birth certificates were no good. So the basis of the old voter register was based on the Ghana card. Okay. Now, over I think 60 or 70% of the Ghana card was made based on the authentication of guaranteeing. So if the Ghana card is was done based on people guaranteeing, and the new voter card is done, about more than 50% was done on people guaranteeing. You put those two together, you have a percentage of about a percentile of about 88% based on guaranteeing. Do you understand what I'm saying? So then what I'm telling you is if it's guaranteeing, people coming in to guarantee, then you really can't prove that they're Ghanaians because they're just guaranteeing. So there's a huge error there. So the error that you were running away from, that was the justification for you putting together a new voter register card, has now come to life again because the basis for this new voter card is based on that same error that you were running away from. I know it's a lot. Work with me here, people. She's not the smartest woman. I guarantee you. I just proved the point to you.
But would that not open the avenue for every president to also bring in or fire the EC and then bring his or her own?
No, because then now the responsibility becomes, if you have to hire somebody to come in, they have to be competent. How difficult is that, Zach? If they were competent and they knew what they... First of all, listen, for you to hire somebody, you need to go over what their job description is. For them to understand that, hey, listen, I'm coming in here to do A, B, C, D, right? And based on what Charlotte Osei did, we could have just looked at what Charlotte Osei did and say to Jean Mensa, you saw what Charlotte Osei did? Don't do anything like her. And we would have been miles ahead. But that's not what happened. She comes in and does worse than Charlotte to say. So, come on, give me a break, Zach. That's so the president did not do a good job hiring the right people. And we could tell by the mess in the country. The gutters are still filled, right? Did you come through Nema? Go through Nema on your way back and have a nice tour and see the filth.
You know, I wouldn't leave here without talking about the FreeSHS.
Gosh.
It's also something, well, it's something that we have to talk about. How would you rate it?
It's failed. I had a lady who just came in, just before you came in. They were from the National Uncommunicable Diseases Alliance. And she was just telling me, she went and did a meeting, I've forgotten the town that she did a meeting at. She was talking, and she was addressing women, FreeSHS level women, and everybody looked at her, and she thought she was just so deep in communicating to them, because everybody just looked at her like this. You could hear a pin drop, right? And she was like, this is a little strange. So somebody raises their hand in the back and said, Auntie, yes, I won't catch you, my aim. They didn't understand what. So now this is a system, and this is my problem. FreeSHS, it's not working. Most of them don't even understand that level English. Now, let's take you back to the primary level. The inequalities, and it's proven by this lady who just left here 15, 20 minutes ago, right? If the system were equitable and it worked and effective, you wouldn't have people matriculating from the primary school into the FreeSHS system who cannot even speak English. What are they doing at FreeSHS senior high school? You don't come to senior high school to learn English. You come there to put some blocks of life together so you will be functional for the nation to use you at the next level.
That has been the issue for a very long time.
You know why? Because the foundation of that was wrong in the first place.
So why would we then attribute this to FreeSHS?
Why would we do what?
Would we attach that to FreeSHS?
Oh my gosh. It's almost like having diabetes for a disease, and you go to the doctor and the doctor says, hey, listen, you got to stop how you're eating and your lifestyle. And you say, wait, I have diabetes. What's that got to do with how I eat? Everything about diabetes is how you eat, lifestyle. So what I'm saying is the problems we have in our FreeSHS came to be because the foundation created at the primary level was not done right. So if you need to have a promising FreeSHS, we have to start from exactly. You don't wait till you get to FreeSHS and start massaging the situation, see if you can get it right. No, by then it's a little too late.
What have you seen the incumbent do that, and the previous, the NDC, the NPP, what have you seen them do that you would say that this time I am acknowledging the fact that this is good? Have you any such?
The NDC and NPP?
Yeah.
Well,
at least one, there should be something. I mean,
what the NDC and NPP have always done is confirm to me that they are organized criminals. Okay, and they proved the fact when this fee for 100,000 CDs came up. I went to TV3, and I'm sitting there watching them talk, and they are agreeing that, oh, you know what, if you can't raise 100,000 CDs, man, you're not ready for prime time. And they were all agreeing to each other, saying, oh, this is our arena. They're totally missing the point. It's not that you cannot raise the money. Is that good for democracy that will help us as a people?
You know, people justify this as so that not everybody or anybody at all would just get up and say, I want to be president, and they just go and become the president. But if you have so much to pay for, it should be value for money. If you're spending this much, you should be ready to deliver to that equivalence. I think that's the kind of justification that lots of people
So
give.
Ghana, From this point forward, we're going to have a bunch of armed robbers be presidents. Because the justification is if you can raise money, go rob somebody, come be president. That's what you're saying. What Jean Mensa has failed to do, and her commissioners, is you cannot find character in money. You find character in a value system. And money has nothing to do with it. So if people who were saying that, hey, listen, if you can't raise money, then you can't, no, they missed the point. The point is, if you want a person who has the character and the value system that we desire to lead the country, you do that by having them sign petitions, having them bring forth petitions where there are signatures on there, people who will vouch for them. If I really wanted to know you, Zach, I would say, Zach, give me people in your neighborhood, maybe religious leaders, maybe doctors, maybe professionals, maybe your teachers, who would vouch for you and say that Zach is of good character. Zach is not a thief. Zach is a hard worker. And give me a statement and sign on that. And the way you do it, to take it further, if they wanted to really monetize it, and this is free advice, Ms. Jean Mensa, is what you do is you would say, anybody who signs on Zach's form, if Zach happens to be a waste of time to the Ghanaian people, there is a fine and possibly jail time for you. So now, whoever signs on your paper is going to be, oh, Masa.
The risk is huge.
Don't even come close, man. You know what I'm saying? So now you shift the responsibility of value searching onto the person who signs the form. Ah, Zach. Nyansa. 100,000. I'm rubbish.
But you know, on a more serious note, people think you don't speak P. I don't know how many P stations you've been to.
Oh, by you, country and Kermwell. Oh, by it, I see a country and Kama. Oh, by us a bro.
Myself, I was coming here thinking the same. So I was kind of, okay. So it's not really entirely true out there. So
I say a country, you know, 100,000 to buy force, bro, a country.
So when are we seeing you in Kumasi?
Oh, we coming. This is when I hope we're gonna have to sit with a chairperson who has designed a fabulous pathway for us to come begin our ascent up north. So we're going to be coming to Kumasi pretty soon, sooner than you think.
I'm sure when you come, we'll have a little chance to pass by to also welcome you as well.
Yeah, we'll be coming. When you deal when you're ready, yeah.
Well, you said Kumasi. You had primary in Kumasi.
Garrison.
Oh, okay.
William Garrison. Do you know? Barracks had a barracks.
Oh, okay. That's nice. That's nice to hear. So I don't know if you heard of the Kumerican movement. That's
my from almost from the mountain. So guys, if you listen to me, Kumerica for Kumerica for me, catch them. Marcel, we are him out Kumerica. Mom, family come home. I'm so I'm watching a crowd.
If I had known, I should have brought you a shirt.
But I don't come on now.
Oh, but say Kumasi I've been
Marcel.
I've been interviewing
Marcel the Bright. Me channel. Oh, buy your big girl and we saw to make a comment on computer.
Oh wow! But we have to leave you here. However, we can't leave you without you telling us a word that we go home in our pocket with. People who are watching would have to take it everywhere they go, knowing that Mr. Koranten has said this or that to us. In the near future, we'll come in and say, "Sir, you said this, you did."
All right. So, brothers and sisters, this is what I'm telling you. Listen, we know that the education system doesn't work. Even if you go to a university, after university, there's not going to be a job for you to do. Look around. Look at your friends. Look at your peers. It's going to be there and it's going to get worse. We are at a crisis. and crisis precipitates paradigms. Get on board. As we travel, we begin the ascent. We're going to be coming to a neighborhood that you live in. Get involved. Get on Twitter. Get on Instagram. Get on Facebook. Post this. Make, I didn't say tell, make your friends and family members listen to this, endorse this, and send this everywhere and to everyone, so that we can create a cascading effect in the nation, so that the powers that be will know that this is our moment of destiny. We're not going to get a second chance at this thing. There is no dress rehearsal at this. This is a one-shot kill. And I plead with you, I beg of you, get on board. Tell everybody you know that the time is now. KOFI KORANTENG, www.kofikoranting.com, www.kofikoranting.com. Spread the word. Go to our donate page, even if it's 5 cedis, 10 cedis, 20 cedis. Momo the money. Fund your freedom. Get some billboards done. Get some t-shirts done. Take control of this, because it's for you. I want to thank you. I want to promise you that I am going to be a totally different president. We want to elevate the country. We want to make Ghana like Dubai and Singapore and Japan all together. And you are in the control seat. If you use your thumb this December, that will happen here. Because with all these nations, we have more money than them combined. We just have to use this that God has given us in abundance. I want to thank you. But get to your phones, get to your computers, and spread the word. Let's make it happen. Let's do this. Thank you.
Mr. Koranten, thank you very much for your time. We are honored you opened your doors to us. We are hopeful that when you come to Kumasi, we would get a slot of your time and then talk more because of your itinerary for the day. All right, thank you very much if you spend time with us. It was me, Zach, with Mr. Koranten. Aerial Talk, we are coming to wherever you are. We bring you the best of information to make informed decisions. Stay blessed. See you same time next week. Bye-bye.